studio one right there. Okay.
I ain't heard this in so long.
You got 45 seconds.
Okay.
What time?
You ain't supposed to snap the gospel music.
What are you doing?
I don't
You
know.
ain't say no fuck on the clock. 5, 4, 3, 2.
He's a mighty good God. It's the middle of the week, and here's your reminder you're not losing, you're winning on this Wednesday. So every challenge, remember, is a setup for growth. Every delay is God positioning you for a greater breakthrough. Victory isn't just about reaching the finish line, it's about staying faithful in the process. So keep your focus on your lane, protect your peace, and celebrate the small wins because the race isn't given to the swift nor the battle to the strong, but to those who endure to the end. It's your main man, Action Jackson, and you're rocking with the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. It is Wednesday. I'm still recouping from that 6 weeks off because I'm remembering the intro. I almost forgot the Brunch Bunch. But of course, Tamara Fair is not on the air because she is on her hiatus. But joining us for the very first time on the Brunch Bunch and serving as our guest co-host is the Ward.
What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Ward of Ward Media Entertainment Group. Actually, man, knowing you, I mean, you be forgetting so much. This second time on the show,
This, you
chopping
know
it up
what?
with you, man.
You know what? I
Yeah,
did forget.
I know, I
Well,
know. Trust
but
me.
you know what? That's what happens when you got a lot going on. But I'm glad to have you back.
Hey, they don't call you Action Jackson for nothing. So,
Yeah, I got to keep the action before I lose it because
uh
bro
oh,
getting old and I
whoa,
got two toddlers, so they taking some of that action away.
man.
But we're going to keep the action going. The war, we got a great show for the believers today.
Good.
Of course, it's Wednesday, and we encourage the believers to win. And we got Brother Stacy Chauncey joining us later on in the hour. But we got some hot topics coming up. We're going to talk about some political stuff when we get back. So as Charmaine from Uncle Raymond's Saucy Fried Chicken always says, call your friends and your frenemies and tell them to tune in to the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. Fabulous. All right. So,
Let's see here.
hmm, we're going to talk about the mayor's budget gap.
Okay.
Um, we definitely going to talk about
Mm-mm.
Pritzker and Trump too then.
Yeah.
Okay, we rocking and rolling. This is
That don't sound like the Allstate man. It do sound like the Allstate
it
man.
giving a little bit,
Bro,
you
you know,
know.
I was watching Too Good to
What's
Go with my
up,
mama,
Letitia?
and the dude came on, and I was like, he was a real actor.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't know. And my mama started acting crazy too. Oh, too good in. I ain't know. I was like, dude was young. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man. You about 30 seconds, right?
I'm like Freddie, I stay ready. You can do what's going on? Jackson, and let me put you on to where I get my style right. GQ Gentleman, located at 7149 South State Street, right here in Chicago. Whether it's for church, prom, weddings, or galas, GQ Gentleman has the suits that keep me looking sharp and feeling confident. Need that perfect fit? Call them at 773-966-4383. That's 773-966-4383. And tell them Action Jackson sent you. GQ Gentleman, where Chicago's finest get suited and booted. Where's the action, Jackson? I'll tell you what's going on. So what's going on? Before we get into this hot topic, you heard the commercial. GQ Gentleman is where I go to get suited and booted. And guess what? They have a sale going on. I'm actually pulling up after the show. They are doing suits. All of their suits are 50% off. So,
Oh,
gentlemen, if
whoa.
you are in need of a new suit, listen, this gala season is coming up. You're gonna be invited somewhere where you got to put a tux on. You get if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. GQ Gentleman is located on 71st and State. Right by
Yeah,
you, yeah,
that's
by
my
your family.
boy. That's my guy.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Eric Knowles. Give him a call. Let him
Yeah,
know you
Eric.
interested in 50% off. That's 773-966-4383. That's 773-966-4383. Call GQ Gentleman. Let them know you heard about him on the Brunch Bunch and you coming in to get you a
Yeah.
suit or two or three
That boy
for
stay
50%
sharp,
off.
man. He stay sharp.
He does stay sharp. But talking about sharp, Chicago faces a projected 1.15,
Ooh.
$1.15 billion budget gap for 2026. And I know everybody listening like, I
Mm.
knew this was going to happen. Oh, the mayor ain't this and he ain't that. But listen,
Mm.
Mayor Brandon Johnson has tasked a 24-member panel co-chaired by Jim Reynolds and Karen Freeman Wilson to come up with solutions. So he's not just looking at the problem, he's saying let's find some solutions. So the interim report offers 89 proposals that could generate up to 1.6 billion dollars in revenue or save around 455 million dollars, drawing in on full access to city finances and operations. Now, ideas for revenue include new taxes or fees on bottled water, plastic bags, liquor, and retail deliveries, with restoring a modest head tax, raising garbage collection fees,
Mm.
linking property taxes to inflation, and creating congestion charges for rideshare services. Now, the task force also suggests fees for false fire alarms and certain ambulance calls. On the cost cutting side, recommendations include a hiring freeze, reducing overtime, adjusting employee health care contributions, scaling back underused services like the mounted police unit, and rerouting non urgent 911 medical calls to telehealth or hospitals, which is a great idea, in my opinion. Now, community groups and aldermen are expected to weigh in heavily on these proposals, with debates likely to focus on whether new revenue streams are fair or regressive and whether cuts could impact essential services. The business leaders warn that higher fees may discourage investment, while advocates argue that without bold moves, the city financial challenges will only deepen. But the political roadblocks are significant. Taxes and fees often hit us, working families hardest, while unions push back against furloughs or healthcare changes. Many suggestions may stall, as has happened with similar reports in the past. And Justice, I would like you to look up the other budget gaps, if you can, from other administrations, because this is not the first time the city has had a budget gap, for those of you who are probably listening and saying that. Mayor Johnson has called this a revenue rather than a spending problem, signaling he may prefer raising income streams over deep cuts. Still, with pensions and fixed costs eating into the budget, pressure is mounting to act. So, as I read off some of these things, the war, what are, you know, restoring the modest head tax, raising garbage collection fees. Okay, I'm sure that won't be too much. It was the what stood out to you that you're like, we don't need that.
Man, I mean, like you said, some of that stuff is reasonable, but man, the rest of the stuff on here, man, it's like really the regular working class people.
Yeah, we will all be the ones affected
Right,
by
we're
it.
gonna be affected. So my thing is, you know, why can't the elite and the rich and those who got big money, why can't they get more? Why
Well,
can't more come out of their pocket? Why does it always have to be the little man, the little people?
that is true
The
because
hardest working
new
people got to be
taxes
hit.
on bottled water. We already got groceries high. Plastic bags, which the stores already charging us for bags. Liquor, I ain't worried about. That's for the ones that drink
I
it.
don't think they mind paying the liquor.
Hell yeah, they gonna pay that one way
They
or
gonna
another.
pay that.
Retail deliveries now. I'm okay with that because it's called a convenience fee, right? If you're getting your groceries and clothes delivered to you, you know you got to pay a little extra because you don't want to go get them. So it's
Yeah,
not like it's gonna really hurt you or affect you.
yeah.
Um, you know,
Hmm.
we're solution based on this show, so I believe that whatever we have to do, if there's a problem, we want the solution. And the mayor is looking at a solution, has a team of people to help put solutions together to make sure. Now, I will say this.
Hmm.
I am on this Friday a part of a committee, and
Okay.
we're hosting Mayor Brandon Johnson a fundraiser.
Okay.
And I'm not ashamed to say that we are hosting him a fundraiser. What I have found in my travels and talking to people is that people, when I say the mayor and come to the fundraiser, we get a lot of people that got all of these opinions and all of these, oh, he not doing this or I'm not supporting him for this. And the same things they're talking about are things that have been happening prior to his administration.
Hmm.
So that's what flusters me. Also, he is the mayor. He's an African American brother with an African American wife and African American kids. And somebody probably like, well, why do you got to go down that list? Because so often when we have black elected officials, they are married to other persuasions. So we got a real black brother that needs our help, not just our negative commentary.
Hmm.
And that goes along with, and I said it with the alderman yesterday, I said to all of my elected officials, we have to start teaching our community how to fundraise for our elected officials
Hmm.
because it's a job, and whoever pays your check, that's who you loyal to. So when the big companies and the big boys come and cut those checks, guess what? They got to kind of be beholden to them and not necessarily to the common people because they have to have money to run campaigns.
Right.
So if 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 you want to really be politically engaged, you got to show up to the community meetings. You got to show up to the city hall, the budget meetings because they are open. You got to talk to your aldermen, your state reps, your senators. You can't just be on the sideline. What is it, sideline pimping? You can't do that. You got to be in the conversation because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be on the menu. So with that being said, if you are looking to join me this Friday for the event, give my office a call, get a Brunch Bunch a call, and we will let you know those details. At 773-345-7441, 773-345-7441. Let us know that you're interested in the information about the
Yeah.
fundraiser. And these type of fundraisers, and it's not one of those ones, I done been invited to ones where it's like $10,000 to get in the room,
Right.
100,000 to get in the room. Trust me, it is not that to get in this room. You got to bring something, but this is an opportunity for you to get a little face to face with the mayor and, of course, Alderman Pat Dowell will be in the building, some other elected
Yeah.
officials.
I just think that, regardless of who the mayor is or what position you hold, you're always going to have critics.
Yeah.
You're always going to have that. I was watching a video with Val Warner
Mm-hmm.
and Lori Lightfoot, and they were doing like some questions and everything. And I was like, let me go under these comments
Oh
and
yeah.
see what the tea is being said in the comments of this video with Val and former mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. Now, I was living in Texas for most of her administration while she was the mayor. So, I mean, I really ain't got no,
Right.
quarrels too much or whatever with her. But I looked in the comments and I was like, I saw a lot of people saying, man, with Brandon Johnson or whatever, this kind of make me wish we still had Lori back. I saw a lot of those comments. This makes me want Lori.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't as bad as. So you're always gonna have people
And prior to that, they were saying when she was in office,
They
oh,
said
this
she was
makes me
terrible.
want Rahm Emanuel back. And then when
Exactly.
Rahm was in office, this makes me want Mayor Daley back. It's
Exactly.
always a,
You're always gonna, like you said, what's that, sideline pimpings
yep.
or whatever, and critics, and all that. And the thing is, Marcel, guess what? They're on the sidelines for a reason.
If you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem, but don't want to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
And so we got to be more solution based, solution minded.
Yeah.
Let's just not talk about the brother. Go to the meetings and let them know, hey, I think you could do a better job at communicating your
Yeah.
team, or tell the team, or I think you should. I was in the room the other night with the lieutenant governor. She
Hmm.
asked the question, what can we do? What can I do better? What can elected officials do better? So,
Exactly.
but if you're not in the room, it kills me. I'm gonna just say this about our people. I was told once, and I used to always get it. How do you get this? How you get that? Huh? How you get that grant? I ain't get that
Mm.
grant, and then I asked the one person the question. Simple.
Hmm.
I said, "Did you apply for the grant?"
Yeah.
They said, "No, I
No.
didn't." So how in the
You
heck
ain't,
do you think you go get the
you
grant? You
ain't do
go
nothing.
get
Yeah.
something you ain't applied for.
Yeah.
You can't score if you don't shoot.
And I think that's with all of us. Like you said, the lieutenant governor asks, "What can I do to help?" or "What can I do better?" I think if we all take that position on what could I do to make my community, my city, or whatever
Yep.
better, instead of being so quick to point the finger at the mayor, at the governor, or at the, whoever. You look in the mirror. What can I do to make my community better, or make better myself? I cannot be a litter bug,
Yep.
and making my community look dirty and nasty or whatever. I can look into some things within myself that I can do better. I can go to more meetings, anti-gun meetings, and come
Yep.
up with solutions. So, what can you do? What can you do to better your community, Chicago, and more importantly, yourself?
That's it. And you know what? God is a genius, and he that is in us, right? We have that same authority. You got to use what God gave you,
That's it.
just like the war said. It's Kevin Ross. God is a genius right here on the Brunch Bunch.
Yep.
Okay, that was what is that?
Sideline pimping.
You like
Sideline
that, didn't you?
pimping.
No, man.
He said no.
That was the
Sideline
first thing that
pimping.
came to me. Well, they tried to sideline
The
pimp.
sideline pimping.
I'm like, he should get me in church.
Hey, we
Yeah.
ain't in church. Oh, this a non-denominational church up here.
Oh, I ain't never been to one of those.
You ain't never been to one of them? Oh
Hey,
man,
I go
Uh-oh.
so far in one church. I don't go to other
is
churches.
your church Baptist?
Yeah.
For you to be Baptist, you real
What? I'm real what?
your views and opinions are real
Yeah, for sure, bro.
real Pentecostal sanctified.
I'm not afraid to question nobody, bro.
I
Who
know
you
that's the
find.
truth. What's up, bro, Stacy?
What it do, fellas? What it
What's
do?
up? What's
It's
up?
a man cave day today, huh?
Oh, I ain't even thinking that. That's it. What's up, bro, Keith Muhammad?
What's up, King? What's up, brother? How you feel?
Man, I'm well, Lou.
Stacy, I
How you
need you
doing? Good to meet you.
Friday
Yes,
to
sir.
bring a check with you to the mayor's
To
fundraiser.
the man's fundraiser.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do for me?
Uh-oh.
Hey, that's what Janet Jackson said.
Uh-oh.
That's what we
What have
want to
you
know,
done for
right?
me lately?
Are we going straight into Stacey Dash?
Um, we do a quick story.
I'm gonna go in the wrong one.
Just bring us in.
You got a sheet for me?
You need
And do we need headphones or anything?
you got a phone for me?
No, I'm asking Stacy.
Huh?
You ain't got no callers or nothing, do you?
No, 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 no. You playing no boy on there?
That's what they tell me. I don't think it is.
Who's this?
Kevin Ross.
Oh, he sound like Chris Brown, don't he?
I wish we could play Chris Brown on
No,
here.
don't he sound like him a little bit?
We play Chris Brown on here.
We do?
Yeah. This Christmas.
I ain't never heard that. You play Christmas songs?
Yeah, you ain't never heard This Christmas
Of course I've heard it.
by
I ain't
Chris
never,
Brown.
we ain't never played on here.
Yeah, we have.
Are you ready to start or grow your business?
You know I got in
At
trouble
the
one
Dream
year
Center,
because I
we
switched
help
the songs out.
entrepreneurs with everything from business plans and funding
For
strategies
who
to
show?
So
marketing
it's
and
the
co-working
other
spaces
station,
and support
97.9.
Oh.
services that bring
They
your
do
dream
like
to
an
life.
annual we switching
Call
the
us
music
today
to
at
Christmas Eve.
773
This shit is like a big thing,
345
right?
93.9.
Yeah.
7441.
And so the first
That's
song was like
773
some like
345
some like
7441.
Christmas song.
Or
You feel
visit
me?
us
And I
online
switched
at
it to like the Michael Jackson,
thedreamcenter.com.
but I ain't tell them.
That's
Oh,
thedreamcenter.com.
And
The
it was
Dream
a
Center,
remote show.
where
oh
entrepreneurs
no, they
dream,
were too mad.
create, and
They
grow.
was just ready to hit something
The
else,
Leaders
bro.
Network has partnered with Great Lakes Credit Union to increase access to financial
Cause
services
they
and
start
funding
when?
for the
When they
residents of
do the Christmas,
Chicago's
like
Austin
October.
community
Yeah,
and
it's early.
surrounding areas.
It's
That's why we created
Next month,
Leaders
dog.
Network Financial in partnership with Great Lakes Credit Union.
I ain't ready
A
for it.
community-driven, member-owned credit union where people come first. Enjoy high-yield checking,
About them
low
Bears.
loan rates, and resources for home ownership, down payment assistance,
Womp
and
womp
business banking solutions
womp.
that work for you.
Support the
Call us
D.
today at
Nah, you talking about
773
Detroit?
345
Man, that was petty, bro.
so we can
That was
connect you
petty.
with
Hey,
a personal banker
That was
and help
crazy.
you
I'm a
get started.
Niner, so I
I
can't
thought
hate
that was
on
gonna
it.
set a record.
I'm a Niner,
You
so
don't think he would have did if he had a chance to do it?
What you talking about? You talking about who?
Leaders
If
Network
Chicago had a chance to
whoa.
run it up their
Now
down?
that's an
We
abomination.
can't run it up. We not that good on
Wow.
offense, bro. I can't remember the last time
Wow.
we scored 50 points doing nothing.
That ain't cool.
I don't think
You
they
done
scored
lost
50
some
points
cool
last time.
points. Wow.
What's up,
That
Tina
point
Hammond?
guard,
Where
that's
you
all
been
I.
at?
Man, bro. Anything but being from Chicago and being a Packers fan.
Well, I'm not from Chicago, so I get
You
that.
ain't from Chicago? Okay. Where you from?
I'm from Missouri.
Oh, okay. Why you ain't
Because they requested from somebody. I'm not being paid to speak for them now.
okay.
You said about 27, my shit,
I feel you.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with it.
Tuesdays at 12:30. Tune in right here on the Brunch Bunch for Community Chatter. Each week, Community Chatter shines a light on the people, passions, and powerful stories that are moving our communities forward. So make sure you're tuning in to the Brunch Bunch Tuesdays at 12:30 so you don't miss Community Chatter.
5,
Brought to you by
4,
Win-Win Communications,
3,
where together we win.
2.
You rock with the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. It's your main man, Action Jackson. And filling in as my guest co-host is none other than...
The Ward. What up with it?
What's up? We were told it's the man's cave up in here today.
That's what
But
they say.
before we get into our resume, I just had to share this because we're living in a political climate where we don't know what politicians are going to do. But Governor Pritzker has pushed back hard against President Trump's repeated criticisms of Chicago, most notably Trump's suggestions about sending in the National Guard to help combat crime. Pritzker has rejected the idea, insisting Chicago doesn't need more military presence or federal intervention, that these moves are more political theater than serious solutions. He argued that such threats undermine civil liberties and could lead to escalation rather than actual progress. Now, Pritzker has also challenged Trump's characterization of Chicago as a death trap or hellhole. He points to official data showing large declines in violent crime, homicides and shootings are down significantly from previous years to counter that narrative. Now, further, the governor has emphasized revitalization efforts in neighborhoods, improvements in public safety, and community led violence prevention as more sustainable real world approaches. Now, in addition to criticizing the policy, Pritzker has also pushed back on personal attacks Trump has made about him. How old are they, right? Particularly, Trump has done insults around Pritzker's weight or alleged incompetence. He's been vocal in denouncing those comments as distractions from actual governance and public policy. He frames his response not as mere defense, but as standing up against what he sees as attempts to delegitimize his administration's work. Legally, Pritzker has made it clear that any deployment of the National Guard or extra federal forces without state or local consent would be challenged in court. Now, throughout this back and forth, Pritzker maintains his focus on policy outcomes, pointing to statistics showing decreases in violence, ongoing investments in crime prevention programs, and neighborhood revitalization efforts, and making sure Trump know that he don't care that he calling him fat. You know what? I'm a big man, and when people used to say, "That's why you fat," and I'm like, "Tell me something I don't know. Okay, you can do something better than that." So I can just only imagine how Pritzker, when Trump. It's just funny that the president does stuff like this. And I said it to the auditor yesterday. I don't agree with half of the stuff that this administration does, but I can attest to the fact that the news is lit because of Trump. And I've just realized Trump has only been in office since January. It's only been 9 months, and it seems like 4 years already.
40 years.
40 years, okay?
40 years in
We
the
got
music.
another 3 years of this. What do you think of this?
Man, I mean, it's hilarious. Trump, we all know he brings the entertainment, so it's nothing new. We know with him, we know what we get. And actually, on that end, with him, I can respect that. I know what I get, with Trump. You just we're gonna ride this wave these next 3 years and just, you know,
And and
pray
You
pray
know
for the
what though?
best.
But when you say entertainment though, this is dangerous
it
entertainment.
is definitely dangerous.
This is not the kind of entertainment you have a good laugh, you go home and everything is all right. This is the type of entertainment that folks are losing livelihoods,
Yeah.
losing lives. I mean, different things are going on, just being stripped of certain rights. And so that's my thought. So
Yeah,
it would be okay if it's a game, but it's just not a game.
It's not a
yeah.
game. It definitely is serious. And when I say the entertainment, I'm saying like him calling Pritzker
No, no, I,
fat.
I get that
Yeah, no, I
aspect
know.
of
So
it.
that,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
yeah.
that's what
I'm
we're
with
talking
you.
about.
he
Yeah,
called the
yeah.
reporter the other day. She asked him a very serious question. Like I said, he said, "You must be the dumbest reporter
Hmm.
I've ever
Hmm.
met." And
Hmm.
to see that type of stuff, it's like this dude will keep. He's gonna stay in the media, and like you said, but it is a dangerous game to
Yeah.
play because he is playing with lives.
And that's what I say. I mean, you know what you get with him. You know
Hmm.
you're gonna get a clown,
Hmm.
and buffoonery.
But
You
he
know.
can't take it though.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, he,
And
he 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 can't take it. When you come at him, then it's all about you're not respecting the
Oh
presidency and
yeah.
this and that. And you ask him a question, he want to jump over your question. He don't want to answer it. And I wish Barack would have had a little bit of that type of you know juice to that and say, look, just sit down, man. Just gut check a few folks just a little bit.
Yeah, but
You can
he
still be presidential. Sometimes you got to
I would have went like you just said. I would have went out swinging. My last term, if I was Barack Obama, I would have been saying what I want to say because at the end of the day, I can't get elected. I've held the highest office
yeah,
in this country. What more can I have? But Trump is nuts, unfortunately, but we got him as president. I will say that I was watching the news this morning, and Trump is the only president in history to meet two monarchs.
I see, yeah.
And the King of England welcomed him with a big parade and all this fancy fanfare and golden carriages led
really.
by horses.
Hmm.
And one of Alyssa on The View, who's a Republican, said they know how to appease Trump.
Playing right to
They
him.
want him to feel like this because when you make him feel good, he'll give you what you want and won't come and get you and attack you. And the UK is not a big country. They got a powerful country, but they ain't a big one. So I was like, well, we got 3 more years of this. Can you believe it? In
Yeah.
3 years, but we're gonna pray because you know what? The heart of the king is in the master's hand,
Well, I
and
think they probably been was out because I'm listening to the audiobook 48 Laws of Power, and that is one of the things in there where when you know that you're smarter than your master or a person that's in charge, you cater to their insecurities, you cater to their idiotic dumbness,
mm-hmm.
and sometimes you dumb yourself down and you appease to them because you don't want to, come off as you're better than them, and then you become their enemy.
Then
So
it's off
I
with
think
your head.
it's a ploy. It's all about you got to know how to, you know, smooth the edges of Donald Trump and or people like that with that type of mentality that
You
he
got to.
has.
You
You
got
got
to.
to cater to their smallness, the small person that they really are.
But the good thing is, brothers, we got 3 more years of him to be in the White House, but we got eternity for God to be on the throne. And
We.
God is in control. When we get back, it's the Chauncey Code right here on the Brunch Bunch.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
Only about a minute and a half of this. The real.
You read 20 Laws of Power?
yeah. I read some of it, but I'm listening to it now. I'm listening to it right now it's really good.
My favorite book ever.
Really? Yeah, yeah.
That's the book that made me read books.
Now I'm
Mm.
learning so much, and so as I'm listening, I'm putting in my little notes in my phone or whatever. Just it's all about one of the laws is patience. Patience, and like sometimes you gotta dummy yourself down. You and even when you don't try to, um, with your gifts and God-given, abilities.
Gotta apply to your audience.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to cater to, even if you are more intelligent than the person that's over you, you can't let them know it.
You don't want to intimidate.
Yeah.
But
So
he-
I'm loving the book.
but here's my thought process when it comes to that, gentleman. Trump is not making the calls. It's the people around him making the calls. He's delivering the messages. He's not that smart. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
That's
No,
a
Come
he
on,
is not.
Jarrell. Drop
So
that for.
yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Stacey, you ready?
yeah.
It's time for the Chauncey Code.
It's time to automate the elevate. It's your man, Stacy Chauncey. Let's go.
1, 2.
What's up, good people? What's up? It's glad to be in the building. What's up, brother Ward and brother Marcel? It's Man
Yo,
Cave Wednesday today. That's what I'm calling it,
I
Man
like
Cave
it. I
I
Wednesday.
like
like it.
that.
I like it. Man Cave Wednesday. Brother Stacy, what's going on, man?
All is well.
You are with us each and every week. You keep us updated. You share your audience with us, your colleagues and people that you work with that are doing great things. But what's your latest take on safety in Chicago, especially with all the discussion, and we talked about it earlier in the show, about the possibility of the National Guard being deployed?
Well, that's a great question, brother Marcel. And I'm being a former military gentleman myself. Definitely give a shout out to the veterans out there and the individuals giving back to our country. But I think that it's absolutely pros and cons when you start talking about that. Um, the pros, of course, an additional manpower is on the streets. They talk about rapid deployment. They train us that in the military, the dual training. But when you start talking about the logistical support, National Guard have the ability to bring that. The challenge, though, is that a lot of times they're young and inexperienced because the average age is 18 to 25 years of
Yeah,
age, and so they're not ready to deal with urban real warfare, right? And so that's the biggest challenge that I see. Military training emphasizes force and compliance, which can escalate rather than de-escalate civilian encounters. So for those reasons, I am not for that, and people don't really understand that you really have to dig down deeply and uncover and pull back the layers because now you're talking about community relations. Military presence can feel intimidating to residents and damage the police and community trust as well at the same time.
that is true.
Hmm.
That is true.
Well, let me ask you, Stacy, like from your expertise, what are the main concerns that you're hearing, like from residents and homeowners, when it comes to, home and community security right now? What do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, people are concerned, no doubt about it. I mean, carjackings are still happening, uh, um, violence is still happening on the streets. But what I want folks to understand is that, security systems are one thing, but community involvement is another.
Yep,
All that has to coincide together. You can't have a security system without having good neighbors,
that's
without
right.
having people that say something when you see something, say something. So I think it's so important for us not only to have life safety technology and smart home technology, but know your neighbor.
Yeah.
Report things when you see it. You see a child walking down the street, don't just be like, you see that child walking down the street?
Yep.
Call the authorities, stop the person, talk to the individual. So that's my thought when it pertains to that.
Mm.
Well, one of the things I love about Stacy and Secure Home and Automation is that you don't just come to sell a service, you come to educate, right?
Hmm.
And you're willing to talk to people and educate them about how to properly secure their homes. And you do that with no charge. And so I'm sure somebody's listening right now saying, I need to connect with Brother Stacy, so I want to just give you your number out. You can reach Brother Stacy at 866-447-3343. That's 866-447-3347. Stacy, was I giving that number right?
866-447-3344.
3344. Listen, I'm sorry, it was on the paper wrong. That's 866-447-3344.
Yep.
866-447-3344. Give them a call just to talk about how you could properly secure you, your family, and your community. Because Stacy got all type of services.
Mm.
So if the National Guard were to come into Chicago, Brother Stacy, how do you think that will realistically affect families and the day-to-day life and in neighborhoods? Because sometimes I'm like, will it really change? But I do know for us as a black man living in a black community, they're gonna come straight to our community. We're not gonna necessarily see them in the Gold Coast
Exactly.
and Lincoln Park.
Right.
So for me to see police get up behind me, I suffer from PTSD and I get
I
nervous.
think we
But
all do.
what do you think? How is that going to
I
affect?
mean, I mean, just to reiterate kind of what I just said a few seconds ago, the military presence can feel very intimidating to individuals. I mean, you out walking your dog, you're in the park, you see individuals walking around with weapons shouldered, so on and so forth. It's just not a good look. This is not a military state. It's not what we talked about. It's not what it's about. And then we think about the coordination issues between military and civilian authorities, right? You have some states saying we're not going to communicate with them. Well, you got to communicate with them. Everybody has to somewhat be on the same page. If not, you have a calamity. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's a lot of legal complications that you can run into when you bring the National Guard in. The other piece to that, God forbid that someone, one of the National Guardsmen, shoots someone.
Mm.
Mm.
Wow.
That's a whole nother level of issues that you're about to face. So I think we just need to really be very cautious when we're approaching that particular situation. But one of the things, Marcel, I will say is that block clubs are really on the comeback. A lot more people are starting block clubs again, and some of those things are really, really popping back up around the city because you need your neighbor. You need to really be able to trust your neighbor to a certain degree,
Yep.
Yeah.
right. More single families are having children at home while they're at work, and you want to have a neighbor that can look out for your son or your daughter when you're gone. But
Mm.
block clubs from back in the day still are effective today if we utilize them correctly. The block club meetings that people have once a month, so on and so forth, they really do work.
They work,
You know,
and neighbors work. And of course, I got your system at my house,
hmm
and the pet triggered the system, and I was out and I got nervous, and I'm like, oh Lord, somebody in my house. And you know what? I called my neighbor, and my neighbor said, let me go out and look. And
Yep.
he said, no, everything looks great. You sure the cat didn't do it? And I said, you know what? I forgot about the cat. That's the issue. I said, all right, I cannot have the police show up and get all these extra fees.
Now
Right.
that's great. You should say that. I ran into a young lady yesterday. I was at Menards, picking up some things for the house, and we were talking. She seen me with my Brinks hat on, my shirt on, and she was talking about her neighbor had a system. The system went off, and the police came out, and the neighbor seen a few things. She said, I didn't talk to anybody about it. I didn't even talk to the police about it because she's always been so rude to me. I just didn't even get involved. I said,
Mm.
really? I said, was it that petty? I did say, Pastor, you been that petty? She said, listen, for several years I've tried to speak to this lady, and she won't speak to me. And I've tried, and now someone broke in the house. And then she came and asked me, did you see anything?
Mm.
Wow.
She said,
Wow.
absolutely not. So I'm saying that to say that's a great thing, Marcel, that you had that kind of relationship,
Yeah.
that you were able to reach out to your neighbor and be affected by that.
And the good thing, this is a new neighbor.
It's a new neighbor.
I
Wow.
just this is the new house, so it ain't
Wow.
like I've had many years of
Been there
relationship.
long.
I
Yeah.
met them, got phone numbers from neighbors, cause I'm old school. I need to know my neighbors. We need phone numbers.
Know who next to
I
Absolutely.
me.
want to know who next to
What you
me, and
do.
so yeah, and so grateful for that. But
Yeah.
when you don't have that, like the young lady you talking about, Stacy, she couldn't count on her neighbor because they got issues. But you got to have proper home security and automation set up so that you can do that. Because another thing is, when the alarm go off and I'm not close,
Yeah.
I got a smart lock that now I can unlock for somebody to go in and check for me.
Mm-hmm.
You,
So
yeah, yeah. No, no, you spot on. But when you're talking about the modern neighborhood, watch just like looking, it's not just looking out your window, but it includes the organized communication networks using apps like Nextdoor, group text, and they kind of alert you to what's going on in your community. So if you see some suspicious behavior, you can report it on the app for other people to know what's going on and be made aware of what's going on in the community. And we cannot stress the coordination with your local police for the increased patrols. If things are happening, go down and talk to the local precinct captain and say, look, we need some increased patrols in this area. There's been 3 carjackings over here in the last 2 weeks. You know, closed mouth don't get fed. If you get up and you start making some noise, people will listen to you. But the regular community meetings to share safety concerns and solutions, listen, if the police are not coming out, you got to organize some things on your own.
Yeah.
Back in the day, what did they do? The brothers on the block used to do what? Patrol the
Yep.
block.
Yep. Yep. So listen, when you can't depend on patrollers and you can't depend on neighbors, you got to depend on having systems set up at home that will protect you. Because let me tell you something. I get that call if I don't cut that alarm off real quick, and then if they don't get me,
Yeah.
I put my mama down as an emergency contact. She thought something was wrong with me. She like, the police on their way to your house. It's like, false alarm, false alarm. But you got to call Brother Stacy so he can explain to you some of the things that you can do. That's 866-447-3344. 866-447-3344. So, Stacy, how do you advise community members? And now let's do this. Do you believe prevention methods like smart home technology, neighborhood awareness, and community programs could have a stronger impact than relying on just heavy outside enforcement? Let's speak
Oh, what
specifically to the smart home
it
technology.
absolutely has the ability to do that, but they work together, right? They work together. And I tell people all the time, when you start talking about the smart technology, along with security systems, along with the local authorities, all that stuff has the ability to help solve crimes, that has the ability to eliminate some crime, and it's so important. And Marcel, you kind of making me think about the 5 things that a person can do right now when you start talking about crime. Walk around your property to eliminate hiding spots, trim the bushes, add lighting, remove clutter around there. Summer's just about over, so put those barbecue grills in, take those garbage cans, put them in the garage. Don't leave them outside where individuals can open them up, put items in the garbage can and roll them away.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure you test your smart locks. I tell individuals, test your life safety and security system once a month, just to make sure it's going to the necessary people and they're calling the emergency contacts. And you have not changed emergency contacts because someone has passed away or you're no longer cool with them. You're no longer friends, so they don't have access to you anymore.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you install your motion sensors and lights around all entry points. And again, get to know your immediate neighbors. You hear me harping on that today. Get to know your immediate neighbors and exchange contact information. Marcel, that's just what you talk about.
Yeah.
If you move into the new home, new area, take photos of your valuables and store them securely. But you have to participate in your own rescue.
That's
Yeah.
it. You cannot wait. And you know what? Tina Hammond, one of our faithful listeners, said, sounds like a neighbor she won't speak. But when her car window was broken, she wanted to know if my camera picked it up. No habla inglés. Keep that same energy.
Right.
I
Wow.
know that's right, Tina. But it's so unfortunate that we live in times, and growing up, our neighbors were like family, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
we
they
didn't
really were.
always agree. The kids, we
Yeah.
fought each other. Our parents had issues
Yeah.
We
sometimes and
stuck
didn't talk,
together.
but we were still
Stuck
together.
together.
We were
But
family.
here's the
We
thing,
looked out for
guys.
one
You
another.
look at, but here's the thing. We don't have to have tea, but we can speak when we see each other. That goes a long way.
I
Hey,
think that's a lost thing today. Just saying hello, hey, how are you? Just passing by, even walking down the street.
yeah,
Even us, black folks, we don't even speak to each other. Just you pass by each other, we don't even say, hey,
yep.
how's it going? Or hello, hey. Just we lost that, man. We lost so much these past 20 years.
Yeah, we definitely got a lot of work to do. But you know what? You can start by calling Stacy. That's 866-447-3344. 3344 866-447-3344. I keep saying the number because when I'm out and people know who I am, I promise you, I always get a. Can you give me Stacy's number? I
We need to
missed
come
it.
up with a jingle for the number. That's
Yeah,
what we need to do.
you got to start singing it like Shirley do her number. You go, I'm gonna let you sing your own number so that people can remember your voice. But you know what? It's so crucial. And the late great Reverend Clay Evans, I quote it all the time, said that we are living in crucial times, times of uncertainty and unrest. And when you're living in times like that, you need to do as much as you can to put yourself at ease. And that's making sure your family and your home is secure.
I absolutely agree with that particular message. The other thing that I would say, Marcel, is that you have more power than you think. Yes, crime is real. It's a real challenge in our city. But with the right combination of smart technology, community involvement, and proactive, the word is proactive planning, you can dramatically improve your safety and peace of mind.
That's it. That's it. That is it. Well, listen. Look, I'm gonna let the ward say the number this time, so we can look. We're gonna spread the.
Just
We're
the
gonna,
right
yeah,
number, right?
yeah, 3344 at the end.
Okay. All right. If you guys want to get at Stacy, I implore you guys to do that. Stacy Chauncey, 866-447-34.
No, no, no,
Three
no,
four
no,
Three
no,
four.
no, no, no.
3344.
Look, Stacy, your turn. Look,
No,
just get a
no, no,
number.
no, no. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Listen,
3344. There we
listen.
go.
Guys, if you want a complimentary security assessment, we do complimentary security assessment for both your home and your business. Our team will come out, evaluate your current situation, provide customized recommendations and solutions that fit your budget and your needs. There's no obligation, but please give us a call at 866-447-3344. Again, 866-447-3344.
Listen, brother Stacy, you always educate and elevate the believers on the Chauncey Code and here on the Brunch Bunch because you just want people to be protected. We don't do fear mongering. We can tell you testimonies. We got Tina attesting to the neighbor don't speak. So if they not speaking to you on a given day, they not telling you to Pookie or Ray Ray or Juan, then walk us. Listen, we living in multicultural communities now.
In the news cycle alone, it used to be back in the day, news come on once or twice a day.
That's it.
Now every hour on the hour, you see exactly what's going on. So we don't have to tell you; you can see it for yourself.
That's it. That's it. So listen, I'm gonna say it this time. Call
Let's get it right.
866
Let's get it right.
447 3344.
There
Let
we go.
Stacy know you heard him on the Brunch Bunch. You're interested in a complimentary assessment.
Yep,
And trust me, Stacy and his team come out right away. When I
absolutely.
got them, they didn't come through, for a week later. He made sure I'm like, look, Stacy, I need my house secure and I need it secure now. I'm like the J.G. Wentworth
And
people.
by the time he got off the phone, I was on the door.
He was at the door with his
Wow.
trusty assistant
Okay.
to walk through the house with him, Bentley. And you know what? They did a great job. And not only did he secure my home, he got me my motivation for my next dog.
Absolutely,
Because I'm
absolutely.
going to get me a Bentley Jr. But all you
Just
got to
now.
do is call Stacy,
Yeah.
talk to him. He's personable. I think all of our listeners who have used them all tell us that he does a great job. That's 866-447-3344. So, Stacy, something is in there. You got any tips, 60-second tips? I know you talked about garbage cans and grills, but we're getting into that fall weather. We got a lot of galas coming up. People are leaving. You got community events. Then you're getting cold. You're taking other your fall vacations. What
hmm
kind of tips you want to give to people?
I just want people to be very consistent when it comes to utilizing technology, right? Time and time again, people will take advantage of technology, then don't use it.
Hmm.
So that old saying, if you don't use it, you might very well lose it, is true.
Yep, that is definitely
so
true.
so so I'm saying to the listeners, if you have a life safety system, security system, or whatnot, you have to get acclimated to it. You have to check out the features. You have to test it monthly. You have to make sure all your emergency contacts are up to date. And so if you listen to the sound of my voice, test your system, do an analysis on your system, get it updated if it's outdated. That would be my message to you.
If it's
Mm.
if it's outdated,
Get
get
it
it
updated.
updated.
That's right.
That is true. You don't want no. Look, you don't want no faulty old system
Yeah.
that the door is open and it didn't alert you that the door is open
No,
because
sir.
it don't make sense to have it.
No,
All you got
sir.
to do is give Stacy a call, 866-447-3344. Stacy, thank you again for joining us on the Brunch Bunch. Woo, 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 woo. The Chauncey
Right.
Code always does what it intends to do, and that's educate and elevate and help you automate. Oh, I'm like Reverend Jesse Jackson now. I'm
Say it
having
one more
to,
time. One more
Rhyming
time.
and
I can't
everything.
remember it.
Rhyming and everything.
So the Ward, thank you for joining us as our guest co-host. How can people follow you and support you on social media with Ward Media?
All social media handles, Ward Media Group. You guys can get at me. Check out on YouTube. Go subscribe on YouTube, Ward Media Group. Check out all the interviews, the celebrity interviews that I've done, and also our podcast show, The Rundown. Check out that show as well. Get at me. Let's go.
All right, get at him. This is his second time, and he won't be a stranger to the show. He will be back with us. And I won't be a stranger to the show either, but I got to get up out of here. I'll be back with it tomorrow because it's always our aim to send you back better than you came. We encourage you to keep Love 24 alive. Tell someone that you don't know that you love them. Tell someone that you do know that you love them. Love will begin to spread like a wildfire. Believers,
We
we love
love
you.
you.
Baby Eminem, we
We love
love
you
you too.
too.
We get it done 12 to 1 right here on the Brunch Bunch. If you heard anything that you didn't catch and you want to connect, call the Brunch Bunch hotline at 773-345-7441. That's 773-345-7441. Up next is the AC Green Show. We get it done Monday through Friday, 12 to 1, right here on Inspiration 1390.
All right.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
See you guys. Love you
Yes,
guys. Thanks
great,
for
great,
tuning
great.
in. We out.
Yeah. Yeah, send me a couple pictures.
All right, good brother.
Yeah.
All right, Facebook. See y'all tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow,
Nice meeting you guys tomorrow.
tomorrow.